Sports Night continues here from Wild Wing Cafe, presented by Baptist Sports Medicine on 102.5 The Game. Got Monday Night Football coming up a little bit later this evening. Got the Pittsburgh Steelers trying to get to 6-3, taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. And Darren, as crazy as it sounds, and hey, you gotta hope, right? Especially if you're in that locker room. Looked at some odds today, sportsclubstats.com, as Damian Williams finishes up his first round of autographs here with the Nolensville Panthers, tonight's Little League Team of the Week, presented by Swiftwick Sox. The Titans, if they were to go 9-7, they still have a 65% chance of getting into the playoffs. So that would mean you got to win 5 out of 6. Stranger things have happened. You never know. And it started off with a really good performance yesterday. Damian Williams is with us. So Damian,
it really took all 250 people out of the game very early on with some of those scores. That was the crowd at Sun Life Stadium. There may have been 500 people there.
Boy, it looked bad.
That was bad. Hold on 1 second. You there?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. It definitely wasn't a lot of people.
Wow. They haven't bought into this Dolphins team that was 4-4 going into the game.
It's probably the most storied franchise to have that kind of crowd. Like you think about Steelers, Packers, Browns. I mean, they don't have crowds like that.
Right, that's true.
The Dolphins, it's a storied franchise.
I mean, they've been doing well this season. I mean, I'd hope people would show up to see a 500 Titans team, you know? So I don't know. I don't know what the deal was.
Did you have that feeling, or is this just something, games take turns and you guys had a lot of you were able to create turnovers? Or did you really have a good feeling? I mean, Mike Munchak kept telling the media, we had a really good week of practice, really good week of practice. And sometimes, you think, well, coaches just have to say that.
No, we definitely did. We definitely had a great week of practice. I think we had a heightened focus, probably. I mean, obviously, when you get 50 hung on you, it's not a great week. And then when you got to hear it from everybody else, from your family to friends to media.
And the owner.
And the owner. Usually when you hear those type of things, it does kind of turn something on for you. And I think that was kind of something that we took to heart this week, and we had to refocus. And I think we had a great week of practice.
So Jake Locker's first game back, what did you think?
I think he did well. I mean, obviously, I don't know if it's a word, escapability, but his escapability is incredible. I mean, there was several plays that he kept the drive going using his feet. He made some great throws through the game, and I think he did pretty well.
You had a couple catches yourself?
I did, a couple.
You would probably like more, though, I'm sure. That's tough, right? I mean, you guys...
didn't have to throw it that much.
It's very difficult. And, I mean, even if you look, after the game, they passed the stat sheet or whatever. And I remember Kenny Britt and I were looking at the stat sheet, and I was like, man, if you looked at our receiving stats for that game, you wouldn't think we beat anybody, let alone beat them by
5 touchdowns.
Yeah, by 30-something points.
Well, Kendall Wright's touchdown was his only catch.
1 catch for 9 yards, touchdown.
Yeah.
I think Kenny had like 2 for 30. I had 2 for 30, and everybody else had 1 catch.
Yeah.
So when you have so many weapons, I mean, I guess it's difficult.
But one thing that looks like it's becoming apparent is you guys are starting to find a little rhythm, a little bread and butter with the running game, and that is a good thing. I mean, even if you don't get huge whopping passing stats, which you guys would love to have, obviously, but if you can run the ball effectively, that's going to help you win games. It looks like that's coming around some. The rhythm and the in sync between CJ and the line.
Most definitely. They've definitely taken it upon themselves, taken it as a challenge to get better every week, and I think that obviously they've done a great job. I think CJ's like 5th in the league rushing right now. 4th.
Tied for 4th.
Yeah, he's 4th in the league rushing, and to be honest, he picked up all that slack in like the last 4 games. Or 5 games. So I think that our line has stepped up to the challenge. I think CJ stepped up to the challenge, and I also think that our vertical passing game has kind of maybe helped that a little bit as well. We've thrown the ball downfield a little bit more, and we're finding ways to get open. So I think that that's also played a little part as well.
I wanted to ask you this, Damian, because I was watching several games after y'all's game yesterday, and one of the games was Seattle and the Jets. And when you look at Seattle's secondary, it's scary.
They're huge.
I mean, it looks like Calvin Johnson, Andre Johnson. I mean, all the big receivers in the league, Kenny Britt, in their secondary.
Right. It's
So-
very rare to see.
Okay, so that's what I want to ask you. I want you to talk about that because you're a guy, one, that's played multiple positions in your career. We've joked with you about being the emergency backup quarterback. But how difficult is it to get, if you were to switch right now and they were to put you in the secondary, how difficult would that be for an athletic receiver to do?
It's definitely difficult. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to sit here and act like, I could just go over there and do it. It's something you have to work at. I think for receivers, fortunately, it would be a fairly easy transition for us, as opposed to any other position switching to another position, I should say.
You've actually seen Bill Belichick do that with a couple of guys, right?
He does it all the time. You've seen a couple teams do that, and partially because we know like route combinations and stuff. So the visual part of seeing different routes coming your way wouldn't be as as difficult for us to pick up, I should say. But I think that for those guys, I mean, they got 6'3", 6'4" corners, and they got Cam Chancellor, who's huge. I mean, Earl Thomas, he's got to feel like a mouse around those guys. But I think that for us, it's kind of intimidating to go up and go against corners that are that size.
Well, it got me thinking, like, is this the trend? I mean, I know that's difficult to do. I mean, these guys aren't growing on trees, but it really is imposing. And you can see why they've had so much success on their defense to see a secondary that looks like that.
Right, for sure. And they are all hitters. Every one of them. I mean, I've watched them play several times, obviously. I know a lot of guys on the team, and because of Pete. And, I think he has the guys in place to run his defense.
Let me circle back to one thing that we were talking about here with the running game starting, it seems, to take shape. You're seeing a lot of Quinn Johnson in there. You're seeing Taylor Thompson go in there as an extra tight end. They kind of have that smash mouth look to them that does take wide receivers off the field at times, or it takes Jared Cook off the field sometimes, to be honest. That's got to be a difficult balance for any offense. You guys want the ball. You're a very capable receiver. You got Kenny Britt. You're trying to get him going. Kendall Wright is a talented guy as well. How much do you almost have to put your ego aside on a lot of ways?
Like I said, man, with our team, I think that's something that all of us have had to do. Everybody's had to put their ego aside because, again, like you said, I mean, you got Kendall, you got Nate, you got Kenny, you got Jared, you got me, you got Cat, you got Taylor Thompson, CJ and D-Ray out of the backfield. Quinn, there's so many different weapons. Like, it would be impossible to make everybody happy. I mean, not all of us can have 10 catches for 200 yards. Not all the running backs can have 100 yards every game. But I think that the way that we're piecing it together, I think we're all starting to find our role. We're all starting to buy into that system. And I think it's something that's kind of attributed to success in certain areas.
And was it fair to say that was a little bit of a struggle for a while, figuring out what do we do well here? Because you got a lot of guys who can make a play, but it's making all the pieces fit.
Right, and that's what it is. It's just it's putting all the pieces together and making it fit to where we have a balance of run and pass. We have a balance of deep and short. We have a balance of big bodies and more agile and shiftier guys. And that's, I think, the challenge every week is to figure out the different combinations to make it work.
Talk to us about this young core of linebackers that this team spent 2 second-round picks on, a 4th-round pick, and it all came together yesterday with Colin McCarthy, Akeem Ayers, and Zach Brown. I mean, you go up against them every day. You're around them in the locker room. Are they taking that big step forward, you think?
Yeah, I definitely think so, and I think that's a credit to Coach Frank Bush. I think he's done a great job with those guys. It's very difficult to have 3 starting linebackers that are all in their first and second year, and that's not your ideal situation in the NFL. But I think that he's done a great job of getting those guys in the right place and putting together packages for them to not only learn the defense and play well in the defense, but actually learn offensive schemes. I think that that's something that I know Colin McCarthy's done an excellent job of that the last 2 years. You know, it seems like he's always in the right place at the right time. He gets all the interceptions. I mean, even at practice, like one day we were joking and Matt said, you know, we call him Pimp C, and Pimp. We thought that Matt was the only person that threw you the ball, but apparently everybody throws you the ball. So. I think that those guys have done a great job, and Zach Brown's coming along very good for us this year as well.
So when we come back, we're going to get some questions from the audience, as we always did. The Nolensville Panthers will get a chance to pick the brain of Damian Williams of the Tennessee Titans. Stay tuned. You're listening to Sports Night, presented by Baptist Sports Medicine, here on 102.5 The Game.